All right, guys, watching the Tim Dillon show here. This was sent to me. I wanted to watch this part. Pay attention, okay?
Going after Thomas Massey.
And
Thomas
Marjorie,
Massey
no?
and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, okay.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's safer in her district, but who is paying for the campaign against Thomas Massey? It's Miriam Adelson and Paul Singer. Paul Singer is another ultra-Zionist billionaire who is basically like Marco Rubio's pimp. He owns Marco Rubio. He's a vulture capitalist who runs Elliott Capital Management. And he's very involved in Venezuela as well. So these guys are running the show.
So let me ask you a question. Trump is elected 2024. Miriam Adelson is a huge donor, among others, right? Bill Ackman's probably is another big donor. Is the understanding, we gave you a bunch of money. You're going to let us do anything we want. And is there kind of a veiled threat that, spoken or unspoken, that hangs in the air around Epstein in your estimation? And the Epstein files and the nature of the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein, potentially, and Israeli intelligence. What exactly, how does that factor into what we're seeing now with shaping a narrative? It seems like that lobby is losing control of the narrative quickly, certainly with younger people, but with a lot of people. The rise of independent media, the sheer audacity with which that, AIPAC and people like that are behaving, Netanyahu. What role do you think uncovering the truth about Epstein plays in the fear in the White House? Are they afraid to release this stuff? Are they implicated in this stuff? Is it both? And was this something where it was understood that they were there to extend the cover-up? What do you think this is?
Well, Trump has personally said that he's concerned about all of the files and the names of clients being released, or not necessarily clients, but associates, because it will smear some very good people. I mean, he said that on the record, and he thinks he's one of them. He was very closely associated with Jeffrey Epstein. And this was the first time I've ever seen the Teflon Don get his mystique actually broken. It was all over Jeffrey Epstein, but it's not just about Jeffrey Epstein or one man. I think it's dangerous to go too far down the rabbit hole on Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to tell you something, Tim. Pay attention, okay, Mr. Dillon? What this young man's telling you, and I watched the whole interview, and it was great. Here's the thing about Jeffrey Epstein and the administration and why, unfortunately, the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the Senate did vote. I think it was 51-49 was the vote to not release the Epstein files. Again, the detailed list. Here's what's happening, and here's the leverage, okay? If you heard him say, Paul Singer and Elliott Management is they used to own, and they did a proxy battle in 2016 for Pulte Home Group, okay? And they got back 3 seats on the Pulte Home Group. And Pulte Home Group was going in there, and they're trying to get their company back. And in the 3 seats, they put Bill Pulte III, a young man, very young at the time. Matter of fact, he was in his 20s at the time. I think he was like 24, 25 years old. But he started getting to the board of directors on behalf of his family, his grandfather's company, and Elliott Management. So later on, when Elliott actually bought out Twitter to control narratives, to control info, okay, Elliott Management, Twitter went ahead and hired him to be a philanthropist. So he went over to Twitter, made up an account, and started pushing out information. And it got traction, as in, hey, I'm going to give away $5,000 today on Twitter, like and retweet and create. You're farming for interaction. Do you know what happened in that interaction of him giving away things for free, right? Eventually from him, he says he's a multimillionaire and he's going to give away free dollars. Donald Trump retweeted his tweet to give away a free vehicle to a veteran. And he said, Mr. President, if you retweet this, then I'll give away a free vehicle. And Donald Trump did that. He obliged. So that's Donald Trump playing out with private equity in real life in front of you. Now we're going to go ahead and fast forward it. Years later, Elliott Management, which is private equity, which they do buy in with LPs and GPs, and they do all of it, right? They're general partners. They have limited partners, and they're trying to make a profit. What do? They sell Twitter. They sell Twitter to a guy you might know named Elon Musk, and they overvalue it. He overpays for it, and then out of nowhere, Bill Pulte stops tweeting. Bill Pulte's no longer this employee of Elliott Management where he's handing out free money to people. No, he's farming the internet now for interaction, for investments or whatever it may be that he's doing to manipulate crowds. But I will tell you this, and we know this long drawn out history, the fact that Bill Pulte is now sitting in Trump's cabinet To go from being nepotism put in on a proxy ballot to your grandfather's company and not knowing what the hell you're doing, just to being a twit farmer, you're just farming for Twitter. I've interviewed him personally. I have his cell phone number. I know all about it. But now Trump promoted you, put you up on a platform, got you more viewers, more interaction. Now Trump puts you on the board of directors and in the cabinet, right? He's in charge of housing. So you go, okay, there's one connection between private equity and a plant, i.e. Elliott Management having complete control of one section of the cabinet. Bought and paid for. They control that man. He's a puppet. He's 30-something years old and doesn't know any better. This is why Scott Bassett threatened to punch him in the face the other day. I don't know if you read the whole thing on Politico, but yes, he threatened to beat him up because, hey, he's talking behind your back. He's talking to the president. He's got the ear of the president. And you know, on the totem pole, you're way down here, Bill Pulte. You're not up here. You're not next to Bassett, but it's okay. So let me explain the other parts of private equity and why it would not benefit Trump to go ahead and let this list come out, because who he's protecting. You see, everybody can do the whole 6 degrees of separation from Jeffrey Epstein, okay? Jeffrey Epstein, I'm connected or I'm not. Once he got convicted, I never talked to him again. That you can do plausible deniability, right? There's no pictures of us with little girls. There's none of this. Okay, good. Peace out. You're good. You're guilty by association and or not. That's what Trump can do. He can go ahead and dismiss it like he has numerous times in the press. What he can't do, he cannot dismiss his relationship with Leon Black. Think about this. There's a little place out there in the 80s called Drexel Burnham Lambert, filled with the top-notch dudes from Wall Street, and you know who they are, Mike Milken, Leon Black, Tony Resler, and in this case, Stephen Deckoff as well. And we know the relationships that they had with Jeffrey Epstein at the time. So when they got shut down by the government in 1989, 1990, here they go. Mike Milken goes to prison for insider trading and fancy information. And they end up forming a group, a nucleus out of Drexel, forms a company called Apollo Global Management. Now, 6 founders of Apollo Global Management go on. They're spread out amongst other companies now, today. But at the time, Mark Rowan, Josh Harris, Leon Black. Got you. So here's what happens with Leon Black. From that moment in 1990, 1991, they go on to do the bond deal, right? They issue out bonds, distressed credit investing. I got you. We know that story. That's corporate America, and that's how they've been looting companies and carving out assets. That's not what's happening here. In 1996, if you have the film, I have the pictures, I already showed all the things, you have Donald Trump going to Russia with Leon Black. Hey, he's with Leon Black in 96. He's with Leon Black in 17. So from 2017 to 1996, I mean, how long is this friendship, right? You're good friends with Leon Black, so much so that you can't disassociate yourself from Leon Black. You can do Jeffrey Epstein all day, but not Leon Black. So let's protect Leon Black for a minute, because we have to remember what's happening here. That throughout the whole 2000s and 2010s and 1990s, he has absolute direct relationships with Leon Black and Apollo Global Management. Donald Trump does. Now, Jeffrey Epstein in that same window got convicted of soliciting for sex, and we know he went to prison for it, jail, whatever you want to call it, county, country club prison, I don't know. But I will say this. Leon Black started paying Jeffrey Epstein $170 million have been documented. That's documented pay for tax-related services and estate planning. Okay, boom. There's $170 million out of Leon Black's pocket to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, 6 degrees of separation. Check this out. Not only that, J.P. Morgan funneled over $1 billion of transactions via their bank to Jeffrey Epstein. So you're saying, hold on, are these payments? Is this money laundering? Are these payoffs? What is this money going through Jeffrey Epstein to facilitate his lifestyle that he was living? Now, when Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, and or if he killed himself in prison, when he committed suicide, when he was dead, his estate was worth $520+ million in the Virgin Islands. There are law firms that are in charge of that estate. Those law firms pay rent to the landlord of their New York office, which is Donald Trump is the landlord of the building of Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys. I showed this in another video just like 2 weeks ago. But I will tell you, so if you ever want to know why Donald Trump doesn't want the list to come out or try to separate himself from it, he's getting paid by the actual lawyers that control the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, let's go ahead and go back to the Virgin Islands. Everybody's bought immunity JP Morgan, $70 million, bought immunity. Leon Black, $64 million, $67 million, somewhere in that range, bought immunity in the Virgin Islands. When Epstein died, they sold the island. It's 2 islands, Little St. John and then the other one, right? The little one and the big one. Both islands are in a package deal sold to who? Stephen Decker. And you go, Stephen Deckoff, not Decker, but Stephen Deckoff. And you go, who's that? Well, he worked at Drexel Burnham Lambert with Leon Black and Mike Milken and the boys. Who did Trump pardon his first administration when his first term? Mike Milken, Drexel Burnham Lambert. He pardoned him. So, guys, just so that we're clear, there's direct connections between private equity, Leon Black, and Donald J. Trump. Without a doubt, pictures, flights, you name it, business deals, everything, right? Okay. But now you have a guy like Jeffrey Epstein, who is on Leon Black's family fund, his nonprofit organization, chairman of the board on all of this. I mean, this guy's been in everything. The family fund, Elysium, I believe, Elysium, is that what it's called? That's Leon Black's new company. Same thing. So here's my problem. Here's where it gets really cloudy for everybody here, Tim. And I want you to know. You have a person like Donald J. Trump, whom I voted for. Are you kidding? I got the black hat the day after he got shot. I was there at a Trump rally what was it? We were in Coachella, Indio, California. I've been there. I voted for Trump. I don't have a problem saying this. He's absolutely compromised. Here's how you know. And here's how you know that they're fighting that list from coming out. In February of this year, he hired Leon Black. He hired his son, Benjamin Black, to be in charge of the international investments of the United States of America. And when he hired him and he put him in that position, he nominated, where is the resume that warrants Benjamin Black getting that position? Benjamin Black has only worked for his father's owned companies and his uncle's, Tony Resler. He's only worked for their 2 companies, or any companies that they've owned. He hasn't worked anywhere else, no recognition, he has nothing. He was just given a position in this administration. And that's how you're protecting your father. That's how you're protecting the legacy, and you're protecting yourself. That's the true story that's happening in Wall Street. Now, I can show you Elliott Management putting a little puppet in place. That's one thing. It's the 6 degrees of separation from Leon Black. And if people only knew the similarities of people that have been in relationships with Leon Black, Leon Black was the parent, he was the boss, he was everything at Apollo. And think about his little proteges. Somebody like Adam Aaron, who's worked for him for 20 years. Adam Aaron, who's at AMC movie theaters, who's also been at Vel Resorts. He's been at Norwegian Cruise Line, Starwood Hotels. You know what Adam Aaron did? Adam Aaron got blackmailed 2 years ago by a Russian ballerina, okay? And what did he say? He said, you remind me of somebody who did unimaginable things to me. The girl in the picture was 17 years old. This man is 67 years old at the time. How in the hell are you telling me that somebody 50 years your junior did something crazy to you and she was not of age? And this is what you were interacting with. And then he sent naked pictures. This guy still has a job. It kills me. I don't even understand it. But it's because he's invested with Apollo Global Management. He's worked for them directly. He was part of their management team for over a decade. He's still paid by them even when he got hired at AMC. But here's my part, though, okay? Who else had a Russian model? Who else had a Russian model girlfriend? Leon Black. He had a mistress that he had from Russia that he paid $100,000 for years, all the way up to $9 million worth of payoffs, hush money, because he was having an affair. And these are the things, these are alleged, these are all in court. Everything I'm telling you is documented somewhere because I've been studying this stuff for so long. But if people don't know the compromising parts of private equity and controlling mass media and creating narratives and the hustle, they don't understand George Soros. They don't understand the extremists of the 1%. That's what I would tell you. That's the gist. That's the hardcore truth of it. But let's hear the rest of this little part of this video and we'll call it a day. I'm sorry, I just got going, Tim. Tim Dillon, I don't know you. You definitely don't know me. But this is what I talk about all day. We'll go for it.
But we do need to acknowledge there was a strong Israeli connection there. Jeffrey Epstein was working with Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister, defense minister, most decorated soldier in Israeli history, on spinning out a series of security companies that were going to compete with the big leaguers like Palantir. Barak was at his townhouse over 50 times. He had met with Shimon Peres, former Israeli prime minister. He had met with Ehud Olmert, former prime minister. He'd set up meetings between J.P. Morgan and Benjamin Netanyahu, and he was a pro-Israel guy. He was close to Alan Dershowitz too. He was like considered sort of Israel's propaganda lawyer. So Jeffrey Epstein's sort of a stand-in for everything that frustrates people, especially younger people in this country, about this two-tiered legal and political system where there is a kind of a class of 0.1 percenters who exist completely above the law, who are like molesting people and carrying out all sorts of sordid financial crimes and bribery and manipulating institutions, buying CBS News and propagandizing the public in support of a genocide. It's sort of like Jeffrey Epstein perfectly embodies the most disgusting specter or figure of this entire network that we have been sort of forbidden from talking about for so many years. And now, I mean, it's like, as long as there is an apartheid Israel, we're going to be waking up every day on social media and seeing images of shredded children, and our legislatures are going to be filled with bills that will prevent us from doing anything about it. So the frustration only continues to build as Donald Trump seems to block the release of the Epstein files. Did you notice, this is so crazy, on the day Charlie Kirk was shot, and I mean, take this out if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, I think you're right. I think I know what you're about to say. They voted, right?
The Senate voted to not release the Epstein files, and
Right.
it was like a straight party line vote.
Yeah, this is not
No
good for
one- no one
American.
paid attention.
This is not good for American Jews. A lot of my Jewish friends are not. You know, they want Netanyahu out.
I'm not going that route. I can't go that route, Tim. I'm not allowed to talk about stuff like this. You know, I stay on my lane. I know people out there reach on to the other side and they want to start saying who's to blame and why aren't these things brought up. They assassinated Charlie Kirk, and he just talked to Ben Shapiro about this a week ago. I don't want to be assassinated, okay? It's not that I'm scared of anyone. I have a lot to live for, all right? My fight's a different fight. I fight for the truth, yes, but also I'm about not playing with private equity. I'm about not being employed by private equity. I'm also about not contributing to the demise of American-made companies and run. This is why I invest into one company called GameStop. This is why I know about the leadership and how they pushed out private equity of their own company. You know, these proxy battles that we can talk about. We can talk about a lot here. I got you, but I will not talk about what they're talking about right there. Sorry, out of respect, okay? But hey, that's the video. I hope you watch it, Tim. If Tim Dillon does not watch this video, guys, or if I don't know how to get a hold of him, you guys push it out to him, please. I need him to see and get some more truth. Enjoy. Marantz, YouTube, TikTok, you know where to find me. Peace.